everybody, it's Belinda from Belinda's Book Nook. Happy New Year 2026. I think it's been more than a minute since we've been together. I've got Ella like tucked under feet, so I can't like really move. So the jump was not quite as spicy as normal. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I have to give me a couple videos to get back into the format and kind of flowing because I feel like I'm really rusty. How have you been? Please tell me in the comments, how is your new year starting? How are things going? Are you reading magnificent books? What is going on? I had a great holiday. Did you have a great holiday? We had family flying in from Hawaii, from Florida, from Wisconsin, and we all got together and it was really nice. And nieces and nephews, and it was just really nice. Crazy fun, like crazy chaotic fun, but really, really nice time. And my boys are home, which I loved it. It was a nice long break. It was a month. Almost seemed like it was a little longer for my oldest, because he just recently left. But my youngest left a little earlier, so it was really, really great. I ate a lot, like everybody else probably. I drank a little bit too, and I just had a great time. I did read, but I don't remember everything where we left off last because it's been so many months. One that I did want to make sure that I mentioned, I want to talk about that because I didn't want to leave and not tell you how much I enjoyed this book. And I'm going to have to apologize in advance for probably not flowing on the on the whys, but just trust me that I did enjoy the book. I have been spending the last 2 weeks, and I realize I'm saying a lot, so sorry. I've been spending the last couple weeks going through and trying to set up. So this is my 2025 journal, and this is my 2026, and it's in transition. Transition, you can see all of these flags. So these, I go through a process of looking at what I thought I liked, what worked, what didn't work. And I migrate things that worked and some things that didn't work, but that I still want to give myself the chance to try to do again. So there are things that are coming in here that wasn't so successful, but I like the idea of them, and it's my book, so I'm gonna put them in there, and we'll see if this year I actually do. So what I will do, what I will do with this, when I get it completed, I have been starting doing videoing of me upgrading this, or updating this, and then I'll do a whole video on the setup for it, which will be very similar if you watch this one into this one. I stayed with the same size, but I went with soft. Look at this. It's a soft cover. It is less pages. The pages are fabulous. This is a Japanese notebook, and it has like the beautiful page, the edges that have like sprayed on them that are just so pretty, which has altered the way that I'm actually doing a particular section in here because I I don't want to cut the edge of the paper. I usually, in here, I cut pages. I didn't really want to cut it because I didn't want to mess this up. So it has changed that. I like that it's floppy. I feel like this can go in my, my book bag, and it's not as bulky. It's more flexible, so it can fit in there a lot easier than this. There are less pages. That's what I was saying. But my reality is I don't read as much as my mind wants to read. And I still have pages left over in this one, so I feel like I'm going to be okay with this. And I'm also changing. I started to do that in the end of this book. I'm going into too much detail, but I am going to put shorter book reviews. When it calls for something lengthy, I'll go longer, but I was giving them like 1-2 pages. And I feel like now I'm just going to do a quarter page. So I think that will allow me to fit in this book just nicely. I think the color's fun. I think this might be the vegan leather. So it's really soft and smooth, and it'll probably get wear and tear, which is fine. I'm contemplating I have this image that I colored with my Copics and putting that on the cover. I don't know, to cover where this is. I thought that might be nice. I don't know. I've done that in the past on some old journals, but then this gets kind of grimy, and so then I get mad and want to pull it up, and then it has a mark. So I may end up just staying with it like this. But we'll talk about that later. That's one thing that I've been working on. Let's go back to one of the books that I finished last year that I really enjoyed, that I wanted to make sure I did cover it. And then we'll talk about what I'm reading in January. I didn't do a TBR. I'm still trying to figure out how I want to do the videos. There was something freeing about having the Friday, check-ins with you all and Friday reads, because I think I like loose formats. I don't like it so structured. And I just like that it could be willy-nilly, whatever I was going on. I'm in the garden this weekend, or I'm going to do this, or whatever, and so I'm boring Ella. She's falling asleep down here. So I feel like I want to figure out what I want to do. I had put some goals in my reading journal that I totally didn't need. I didn't do any tag videos, and I wanted to. And I even wanted to create one. I had come up with some good ideas, but I'm like, I don't know, should I do it? I don't know. Will people do it? It will just be me doing it. I don't know. So I just want to spice it up and keep it interesting, and keep it interesting for me. And I have to create an environment for myself that is low stress, that isn't getting me, too much stress, that I can be enjoyable as well and easier to maintain. So frequency, I'm not sure about yet, but I will be recording videos again, and I'd like to even do a couple of shorts, and I'd like to do some posts. Like, I could have posted to you guys just to let you know. I know there were a couple people that had reached out to me, which I just noticed because I looked in the comments, and I will be replying to your comment. I am here, and I had a very happy holiday, and I'm looking forward to the new year. So thank you for reaching out. That's another way that I can kind of communicate. If I don't want to do a full video, I could always, do a little post there. So there is that option. What else? So let's go into this book. We'll talk about what I'm reading. I'm all off on how much time. I'm probably going to still take as long as I normally do, because I tend to babble. So feel free to fast forward anytime, but I prefer you stick around to the end at least. So this book was one of the books that I selected for my blind TBR. You remember I have the cart, which is not here anymore because we have my fabulous, fabulous new bookcase that we set up together. That is now occupying the space where the TBR cart used to be. And I moved a TBR cart into my office. So, but this was one of the books that I picked, and I've had it for a long time. I have to look in my, in my journal and see, in my app, to see when I bought this book. But it was lost and found, and I don't know if I ever came back and talked to you guys about it. But it's Lost and Found by Brooke Davis, and it looks like this in the cover. There are a lot of, if you go look up Lost and Found, there's so many books, and I laughed when I was trying to find it, because I was thinking, gee, I didn't realize, but it's a common expression too, right? And this one was what I would call like one of my last year's like pleasant surprise books. I went in not really expecting much, and I came out like very happy that I did pick this book up. And one of the things that really stuck out for me is there's this one character in here. Let me tell you a little bit without looking in here about what it's about. Good luck for that. But the story follows this little girl, and it sounds like a really sad story, but it has its sad moments. But I like stories with found family, and I think that this one did such a good job of it. But it's this little girl who her mother takes her to a department store and leaves her. She abandons her. and the little girl doesn't really realize that's what the case is and strongly believes her mother's coming back for her. So she's there for several days trying to, and she's hiding. And so, she's processing this information on where her mom is, what she could be doing, when she's coming back, blah, blah, blah. And then there's these other characters, secondary characters that come up in the story. And you get their backgrounds fed to you at a very lovely pace. I thought it was very well done, coming from the perspective of these different individuals. But there's one character, and her name is Agatha Pantha. And when she comes into this book, I kid you not, I just laughed so hard. I took this and I paired it with the audio. And if you have the chance, either just do straight audio. I know, sacrilege that I'm saying that. Or do it like I did and pair it with the reading. Whenever this character came on, when people say laugh out loud, I just laughed at this character. She was so interesting, and I don't remember laughing that much. Now, you may read it, maybe you don't find her funny, but I just thought the things that she did and said and thought were just hilarious. And so it lightened the story, because the story is really sad, in terms of, what happens, what the concept of leaving a child, of mom leaving her child. But it was so good. It was so good. I recommended it right away to my sister. I was like, you gotta read it, but you gotta get the audio. And the audio, for whatever reason, on Libby and on the apps, it's like forever to get them, but it's so worth it. Or if you have Audible, or maybe, I don't know if Kindle Unlimited does audio as well, but if you could get the audio, do that, because it's very, very lovely. It's so good. I can feel the feels even now, and it's been months now since I've read this, and I could see why this was the #1 international bestseller, and I could see this being a movie. It would definitely be really cute. So I wanted to make sure I mentioned that, because it was a very successful read from my TBR, blind TBR. And if you ask in the question, am I going to continue? I am absolutely going to continue, because I've decided that I know that I had over 20 books on this TBR cart. I'm not sure how many I've read now. I have to go back. I have a funny way of like keeping track of it, and now I'm changing it up, and I don't know if that will help me remember cumulatively how many I've read. But I think probably if I get to 5 of the books from the cart this year, I'll feel happy. And I think that I'll just keep doing that until I get rid of them. And then maybe I'll do a new TBR cart of some of my other older books that are still hanging around on the shelves. Because I thought this was just such a pleasant surprise. It came at just the right time. And it also made me think that one of my goals this year is I think that I want to find some books and read some books that just make me laugh, to have different emotions. I do realize, and I think I realized this probably 2 years ago now, that I do like suspense thrillers. I read some really great ones that I like. And I think that adrenaline you get from that was definitely something that I enjoyed in those books. But also, they also had elements of historical fiction, which is my favorite genre. But I want to laugh. So if you have any recommendations of books that are good, that really make you laugh, I've had a couple of romance ones. They were like romantic comedies. They had little bits and moments of humor, which I thought were fun. I think it's hard to do. I think it's hard to get people to laugh. So if you have any recommendations, I would just love to start keeping a list, because I don't know. I mean, that one was like a romantic comedy. This one is, this is like a drama, I don't know exactly what you would categorize this, but there's elements of comedy in this book that actually help ground your feelings on the whole thing, rather than just kick you down, and so I absolutely want to do that. And the other thing this year is I also think I want to read a horror book. I haven't read a horror book since I was a kid, and I don't want to. And I've gotten to the point kind of where I kind of poo poo on it. I'm like, oh, I don't want to read horror. No, I don't want to read horror. I'm just gonna read that. What am I gonna read that for? There's nothing. I've been getting too serious, I think, with my reading, and I want to and get the full spectrum of emotions and experiences. And the only thing that I am going to premise that and say is that I'm definitely going to read it when my husband is definitely not traveling, because I'm a scaredy cat, and then I will just have to have the lights on, and I'll be creeped out in our house when he's gone. So, but I am going to start like compiling lists of books that could be potential horror books. And I'm going to try to pick up one of them. But I would definitely ask you if you do know like something that is the book that you've read, or did you know somebody else that you trust has said that they've read it and it made them like laugh. Like I literally was sitting in bed reading it next to my husband and laughing in some parts in here, and he was like, wow, it was neat because I was so drawn into the story, I didn't realize I was laughing so loud. So that expression, laugh out loud, was definitely applicable. So enough said about that. It's occupied enough our time. So there's Lost and Found by Brooke Davis. What am I reading this month? Well, that's a good question. I got a couple things going on. So I have this one, which is Queen of Exile. It's a novel by Vanessa Riley. She's well known for The Island Queen, and she's done several other books, and then she's done some Regency romance books. So I'm reading this for book club for Read So Lit. This is our first book of 2026. I actually owned it. It made me so happy. I was like, oh my God, the first book that we have, I don't have to buy or get to the library. I have it. I buy her books. These. I don't have the romance series. But I like these historical fictions because I like to get a bit of information. I have mixed feelings so far. Right now, I am at page 250, so I'm more than halfway through the book, and I feel so far like this story. I feel like the main character is a bit whiny. I know, I said it. I know. I tread lightly because I really respect this author. I think she does a good job of researching. And I loved Island Queen. I love that one. I think it's over here somewhere in my little bookshelf. But don't get me wrong. I think it's a good story. What I am appreciating, here's the thing I am appreciating, that they have at the beginning of not every chapter. Is it every chapter? Let me see now. I'm going crazy. At the beginning of many chapters, if not all the chapters, they have actual clippings from the newspaper that they pulled out, and then the author, will also write one too. That is, I think that she's writing, that she's made up. But I'm finding those very interesting. And I like the idea of how she kind of puts them into how she incorporates them into the story. Right now, I am not feeling as excited as I was with the first book that I read from her. And I know that when I get to the discussion that the group will help me connect more to this story. That's it. I'm not feeling that connection. Ella, I gotta put my legs out. Yeah, because my legs are getting a little cramped up here. I'm gonna put them over you. Okay. So I'm kind of disappointed a little bit. I'm still going to say that I'm going to hold my final thoughts until I finish the book, but I am 2/3 of the way done, maybe I would say, and I have 1/3 left. So I'm trying to see what's going to happen in here and how she ends it. That will give me a final thought on the book. So I am enjoying it but I think that there is something missing in this one so far for me. All right. Then I'm doing a review book, which I won't discuss right now until I finish it. I'm absolutely loving it, and I'm really taking my time with it, but I gotta get done by the end of the month, so I gotta take my time, but move it along. And then I just forgot my notes that I had with the person that is doing this challenge, and I'm really gonna apologize. I'm really gonna apologize because I'm gonna mention her again in my next video because I like to say the person's name when they create a challenge. But over about a month or so ago, I saw this video by this YouTuber, and she was talking about an anti-brain rot challenge and reading challenge. And she wanted to do it, and she wanted people to get on board next year and blah, blah, blah. And so I was like, okay, you know. So I have to say that in general, I read a lot of historical fictions and nonfiction. So I do feel like I'm not just reading a lot of fiction and not, you know, learning things. So I don't necessarily think that there's a hole there, but I liked her approach to the concept. And so what she has done, which I think is very, very clever, is created a challenge where she gives you 2 books that she recommends each month. And those 2 books, one is a fiction and one is nonfiction. And it's on the same topic. And her goal is for us to slow down and annotate and absorb and process and then produce output from your experience. Now, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to do every aspect of that because, you know, I get busy like everybody else. But what I have been doing is annotating the book that I am reading, the first book that she has in her challenge. And I really like this. I just think that I'm only reading one of the 2. I'm actually reading the nonfiction book versus the fiction because I just have, you know, I have my review book and I have this, and I just don't want to over you know, extend myself. And so, but I like that idea because I think that even the books that she's picked that are fiction give you entryways into different aspects, different cultures, different. She wants you to basically absorb or to take in more of the world, okay, as opposed to just reading, you know, American authors and just reading fiction. She wants them to have some meaning and some connection, and that we grow in the process, right? And I think that BookTube, I think BookTube. Told you guys that I wasn't going to be ready for this first video. BookTube tends to have a, you know, for me, this is how I experience BookTube. It's like, I love it. I love to watch all the videos and to see. But what drives me nuts is the book count. Like, people are obsessed with having more books or more pages. And I'm really more interested in about the books. Like, I would rather see a review a video that has maybe 2 or 3 books and they talk about them more than for them to just do a laundry list of a whole bunch of books. Like, I read 20 books this month, which to me is just impossible. I don't know how I could get that much time. Even if I included audiobooks, I couldn't do that. But okay, hats off, people can do that. But at the end of the day, are we missing something? Are we missing it? You know, even if it is fiction, are we so busy consume? You know, I think it's just that zoomy culture that has like led us to believe that more is better. And I don't think that's true. I think that like this is a good example that of a book that like it's not like intellectually stimulating in any bound, and this probably wouldn't be on a list for that. But I sat with this experience, right? And I was moved by things that happened in the story. And so I like that. And I am kind of a, come on, if you know me by now, you know I'm kind of a book nerd. I love notes. I have book journals. I like to take notes. I have flags. I have systems when I read books. So it's just taking it to slow down and really absorb what we're reading and to be able to, the final element. And I'll link her video talking about it below. So if you're interested. But I think that I like the idea. Even if the output isn't output, like I could do it on a video, you could do it on Substack, you could do it in many ways, maybe something on Instagram or on a reel or what have you, right? I just feel like that engagement with me and almost like studying a book along the way is that experience I enjoy. And so I don't mind going slower. And that was all why I only took one of her books because I wanted to be able to do that. So the book that I am reading, while I'm all yammering on, yammer, is called it's called The Truth. Oh, I did get it the other day. I ended up caving and buying it because I had it from the library and I've been highlighting on the Kindle, and then I realized they're gonna take my highlights before I can actually take them and transcribe some of them in my book, because I actually have it. And she talks also about being able to, have a material that you document, right? So it's called Capitalism, A Ghost Story by Arundhati Roy. And I think she's also the author of The Small Thing. Is it The Great Small Things? The Small Things. She's written a couple of books, but she was well known for that particular book, which I didn't read. I do have, I think, another one of her books. I don't have my other thing to tell me, but I do have another one of her books, I think, in my bookshelf that I bought a long time ago. But this book, I'm about 40% in and loving it. And I've been going really slow. The other thing, part of the challenge is she has different tiers. So you could do 15 minutes a day where you're annotating, or 45 or more. I had a great session yesterday. I think I did 50 minutes. And it was just really fun to kind of annotate and then pause and think about why that was important to me, or what that what that's connected. The other thing I'm loving about the book is I'm also finding and I'm also logging all of the additional books that I want to get that she refers to in here. So the book is, let me see if I can pull its description. All right. And she won, I believe, the Booker Prize for the other book that she had, that everybody's really, well known for. The God of Small Things, that's the name of it. She won the Booker Prize in 1997 and has been translated into more than 40 languages. She was born in 1959 in Shillong, India, and studied architecture in Delhi, where she now lives. She's written several nonfiction books, including Field Notes on Democracy, Walking with the Comrades, and obviously this one, and The End of Imagination, and more recently, Things That Can and Cannot Be Said. Ooh, co-authored with John Cusack. And so it goes on and talks about her. That's the other thing too, is like when you're reading these books, you think about who the author is, and you talk about, you think about what their perspective is as when they come and they create this book, right? And so that also gives you more. So the book, it examines the dark side of democracy in contemporary India and shows how the demand of globalized capitalism have subjugated billions of people to the highest and most intense form of racism and exploitation. It's highly readable, and I do agree that. And characteristically trenched mapping of early 21st century India's impassioned love affair with money, technology, weaponry, and the privatization of everything, and because these must not be impeded on, no matter what. Generous doses of state violence, and that's a comment by The Nation. It says Royce. Is this a no? That's another comment. Somebody's thing. It's really good. She ties things even to. I just read a really interesting statement that she basically ties, some things that are going on to there, to the way things were handled here with the quote radical blacks, or the Black Panthers. And it was just illuminating, something I never would have thought of, and something that has made me more, I don't want to say critical, but to look at things and step back a little bit, and question things a little bit more, I guess. It's fascinating. I just think it's a fabulous book. It's very small. I can't remember what the other book is that she has for, I think I wrote it in here. I think that is one of the pages I have in here already done. That's the nonfiction. The fiction book is called Capitalists Must Starve, and it's by Park, oh boy, it's really tiny. Park Sulion. And I don't know, I think it might be a little fantastical if I remember her saying, but I definitely feel like I'm going to read at least one of the books each month. That's the goal. And some of them I've actually read already, so I'm like, yay! I'm really happy about that. And one of them I already own, so I love that. That makes me really happy. So that's the Anti-Brain Rot Reading Challenge. I will link it, and I'm going to apologize to her because I can't remember her name. I can't think of her name, but I'll link all of that so you guys can look at it, because it's definitely worth it. Even if you don't have to do all the books like she said. And that's the beauty about reading challenges. Most of the time it's like, just read one. Even if you pick one book on this list, and you don't have to read it at the same time they are. But if you do, she has a Discord group where there are people discussing it. And so it's nice to see. And when I went in and looked, she breaks it down so that you won't get spoilers if you go to the section where you've read. There were some really good deep discussions. It wasn't very superficial, which I really enjoyed, because sometimes I feel things and I can't quite articulate it. So it was really nice to see people that are able to do that and that I agree with, and some that I don't necessarily agree with, but I like to see that because it opens me up to another idea as well. So I'm really enjoying it so far. That is my other book. So I have 3 books going on right now, and I'm really happy with what's going on there. And it's just right up my alley. Like, I just love reading. I like reading nonfiction like this style, because it just pulls. She's pulling all these different things to kind of make her case, and it's very good. It's very well researched, and I think delivered well as well. So so that's that. And other than that, oh, I forgot to tell you. So look at my shirt. Listen, he gets the month for me. Okay, we're not just doing Martin Luther King Day. His birthday was the 15th. It was the 19th. We had the observing of it here. I saw him. I'm going to observe him all month. I'm not going to wear the shirt all month, but I will. After it's washed, I'll put it on again. But this one is so cute. I love it. I love how you can see him in it. So it's Dreamlike King. I was trying to find one that I like the design. Some of the other ones I was like, no, this one's very cheery, and I love the idea of doing that with the, like, masking with the words onto the picture. So there is that. I'm gonna make sure I mention that. I don't know what else to tell you guys. Ella's doing good. I'm doing good. I am trying to get into, obviously good, trying to do my good, healthy routines for the new year, and trying to lean into more doing and less watching. So that said, for my fellow booktubers that I really enjoy watching, I probably am going to digest. So I probably won't watch for a while, and then I will just binge. And then, I think that's better for me, because each instance when I come in, I come to watch something and I get distracted. So I'm making 2026 more of a doing year instead of a watching year. But I shouldn't say that, because then that means you don't want to watch my video. You can watch my video, but you can watch it with others. You don't have to come in. I don't do that many anyway. But you don't have to watch them right when they come up. Just comment so that I know you're there. And that makes me really happy. And a thumbs up. I think they say it was a thumbs up. I never say that. Give me a thumbs up. Um, and if you made it to the end of this video, I have people do this. If you made it to the end of the video, give me either a thumbs up, or they don't have anything for Martin Luther King, right? So I would say that would be kind of cool. A thumbs up or a heart, because I just love that. So if you made it to the end, do that. Let me know. You don't even have to say anything else. You just put that in there. Like, I don't have anything to say to you, Belinda, but I made it. I made it through your rant. And I'm back, and I'm looking forward to talking to you guys and engaging, and I want to do some fun things. I did come up with ideas last year that I never got to, so maybe this will be the year. And Ella was going to make a sighting, but she's sleeping, so I'll have to bring her on another time. But anyway, I hope you guys are well, and I hope you're reading some good things. Let me know what you're reading this month, and if you have any plans, and if you plan on joining that, listen, you can join the Read So Lit. I love it. I've been in it for many years now, and I love the group. The ladies, this group is so good, and Dee Dee does an amazing job picking them. So you could join that. And if you look at this anti-brain rot, I think that the premise is really good. I think that she's got something there that is special, and I'm looking forward to all of the different books that she has on her list. I think she's done a great job curating some great books, and her videos are really great. I just stumbled across her video, and I'm just so happy to participate in her challenge. So that said, I'm gonna stop now, and I'm gonna see you in the next video. Bye.